What's going on, guys? It's Ryan here at the CTW podcast. Flying solo today. Well, kinda. The normal co-host, Jason Freer, isn't with us. So if there's a little bit of decrease in that natural excitement that he always seems to bring, that's the reason why. But I'm going to do the best I can to make up for it. So what we're doing in this episode, and this one's a bonus show. It's not one of our normal guests. It's also ad-free. We're not going to have anything, no advertisements or anything at the beginning or at the end of it. Like we missed the NCAA tournament this year, and I think everybody knows that by now. That's something that I really, really, really always look forward to. My dad and I, when I was, growing up, that was kind of our annual trip. In the summertime, he'd be working, I'd be wrestling, and we really didn't get our vacation. So that weekend always was kind of our vacation. So that's an event that's super, super special to me, especially my dad no longer being here with us. So, in order to do this now, instead, since we couldn't watch it, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go over what would have happened, or at least predictions. But I can't do it by myself. I'm not the guy for that. It's certainly, we need a smart expert here with me and somebody that really, really, really knows what they're talking about. So I had to bring somebody that really, really, really knows his stuff, and we're honored to have him on the podcast. Cael Killo, what's going on, buddy?
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Thanks. So tell me a little bit about you, man. How long you been wrestling?
5 years now.
5 years. Okay. How old are you?
9.
9. Sweet, man. And you wrestled for the Vipers program, correct?
Yep.
How do you like that? Oh, there we go. I like it, dude.
Thanks.
There you go. The Vipers program. Tell me about that. How'd your season go this year?
It went good. It was my first year on travel. The year before this year, before my season started, I was on the rec. But before my year started, I went to some of the Vipers practices, travel practices. I was crying every practice. But then now I only cried like once, I think, when I hurt my foot, and I was out for a couple weeks for wrestling. But
okay. You only cried once this year?
Yeah, I got a little bit tougher, and then I was lucky enough I made it to state tournament.
To make it through a wrestling season only crying once is an accomplishment. I don't know if I ever did that myself. You were able to do it only crying once. That just shows how tough you are. I know this year, within the last year, you won your first tournament, right?
Yeah, it was actually your tournament. It was
the CTW. So yeah, the champions that wrestle C3. I remember I got to see you do that. Winning your first tournament was a big deal. A peek behind the curtain for everybody. I've known Cael a long time. Cael, do you know how long I've known you?
You came when I was just born, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the day you were born. If not, it was the day after. I'm not sure, if it was the exact day, but known Cael since he was born. His dad's a great friend of mine. Came up, was my drill partner all through high school. We were captains of the Hammond wrestling team together. Yeah, I've known Cael for a long time. The day he was born, I brought him a gift. His dad stole it, and you can ask him about that. Not that Cael would remember it or anything. But we're going to break this down. Do you want to get right to it, Cael, or is there anything else you want to say to everybody?
No, we could just get right to it.
Okay, cool. How you want to do it? You want to just go right in weight class order? You're running the show here.
Yeah, we could go to 125 to heavyweight.
Okay, cool. So that's the order we're going, just like it was the finals being broadcast. So we're going to go through each weight class. So 125, a lot of good guys there. I mean, tons of good guys, but one that kind of stood out above the rest. What did you think about 125? Is there any interesting matchups that you predicted to happen?
Yeah. So there's Jack Mueller against Drew Hildebrandt. So I think Drew Hildebrandt is a strong wrestler, and I saw him coming on top of Jack Mueller. But then for the third and fourth place match, they wrestled against each other, and I think Jack Mueller would come on top of that. He would be furious because last year he was in the finals. He beat Sebastian Rivera, the #1 ranked, at the most unpredictable weight class. So I think he would be mad and pull that win over Drew.
So just to give everybody kind of a heads up with this, I asked Cael to do this with me. I said, hey, like, make sure you do your research for it. And he went out and filled out his own brackets for the entire tournament. I was thinking, we might pick the champion of each weight class. He went ahead and just did, almost every match. I think he filled out his entire bracket with it. Yeah, that was interesting. I thought at 125, a rematch of last year's finals, supposed to happen if all seeds went according to plans, with the number 1 seed Spencer Lee and Jack Mueller meeting in the semis, with Mueller being a 4 seed. What did you think about the other semifinals match? Who'd you have making it through on the other side of the bracket?
I think Pat Glory against Nick Piccinini. So I think Nick beat him twice, but the most previous match, Pat Glory actually beat him. I think it was like by 2 points or something. I'm not sure, but Pat Glory pulled the upset. But it's Pat Glory's a sophomore and Nick is a senior. I think Nick would want to win, and I would think that Nick would want to win more, and he would take the W on that match.
Okay, no, that's cool. So you had Spencer Lee and Piccinini in the finals?
Yep.
Nice. You're right. Nick Piccinini actually beat Pat Glory, I think, twice last year. The last time, I believe, he pinned him for 3rd and 4th at the NCAA's last year. But then, like you said, Glory won at the Princeton Oklahoma State goal meet this year. I think it was 9-4. I actually had Pat Glory making it through. I had this one kind of going chalk with Spencer Lee beating Pat Glory in the finals. Who'd you have winning it?
I had Spencer Lee beating. I think actually speaking, this is crazy, but Nick actually had to pin Spencer Lee. But this year, I think Spencer Lee beat him like 13-4. And I think Spencer Lee would go for the fall. I don't think he would get it, but I think it'll be a technical fall.
Okay. Wow. That would be quite a statement in the finals. Getting a tech fall there. You don't see too many of them. A couple of times, but very, very, very rare. I think Jason Powell did it one year. Mitch Clark, I know, did it once also for Ohio State. But now we're talking over 20 years ago now at this point with I'm aging myself a little bit, buddy. But yeah, did you see any underdogs in this one that you thought might sneak into the semis or anything like that?
As I said, Drew Hildebrandt made it to the semis. I actually had Luke Warner, I think his last name is. I had him taking 8th place as the number 10 or 11 seed. I had him taking 8th place to Devin Schroeder.
Okay, and when I actually asked you to do this, you did the whole bracket, so you have all 8 placements. Who were your placers at this weight?
At this weight. So number 8, Luke Warner. Number 7, Devin Schroeder, which was the Big Ten Finals. Spencer Lee beat Devin Schroeder. I think it was a tech fall. Brandon Courtney taking 6th place. Pat Glory taking 5th place. Losing to Jack Mueller in the round before that.
Okay.
So, and then Drew Hildebrandt taking 4th place, Jack Mueller taking 3rd. 2nd place, Nick Piccinini, and 1st place, Spencer Lee.
Okay, nice. I also had my guy to keep an eye on, my dark horse. You know what a dark horse is, Cael?
Yeah, the person that's unseeded, I think.
Yeah, somebody that you don't expect to like somebody that's a little bit of a lower seed that you don't expect to make it through. That is kind of, they call them bracket busters. Also, you'll hear that term a lot, where they have a good path to it. I had Joe Manchio from Columbia dropped a bunch of matches during the season. He was the 23 seed coming in, if they even seed that low. He lost 3-0 to Pat Glory in the finals of the EIWA, and he pinned Brett Pietzel from Lehigh on his way there. He and Brett were going to meet again early on. I want to say it might have been the second round. I just liked his path. I think eventually he would have gotten knocked off there by Pat Glory. I had Glory and, as I said, Glory and Spencer Lee in the finals, but He was just one for me to keep an eye on. I'm not saying he would have podiumed, but maybe made it to the blood round for a 23 seed. That's not too bad. So it looks like we're in agreement here with the champion. We both agree on Spencer Lee.
Yep.
On to the next one. 133 is, it's you want to talk about a loaded weight. Was this the toughest weight in the nation, in your opinion?
Yes. Either that. There's a bunch of tough weight classes, but I think that or 174 is pretty tough.
Okay, cool. Well, this one, it was like, the Big Ten just knocking each other off left and right all throughout the season. I felt like the whole talk all year was Sebastian Rivera or Seth Gross, Austin DeSanto or RBY, and they're all beating one another at different points throughout the season, it felt like. What did you see happening at this way? What were your finals picks?
Seth Gross against Sebastian Rivera.
Okay, so you went chalk with it. You went the number 2 seed against the number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually went a different direction with it. I'm all for seeking out the best competition, and the tougher your schedule is, the more prepared you're going to be for the end of the year. And I'm all for that. That is my mentality and always has been. But in this case, Sebastian Rivera, Seth Gross, and Austin DeSanto, I don't think RBY, but they all missed time with injury during the year. So I thought they were spending all season beating each other up. So I had it going another way. I had Mickey Felipe from Pittsburgh, and I had him making the finals there against Chaz Tucker from Cornell. And
there's no way. Chaz Tucker's toughest win is Sammy Alvarez. How?
I think he's undefeated, so at least he's beaten everybody that's put in front of him. And I thought, maybe he'd be fresh going into it. I know he didn't have the toughest schedule, not the toughest road to get there.
You made the wrong choice. He has a good coach, Cael Killo, but I had him taking 5th place to Mickey Felipe.
Hey, that is the 5-6 match.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I might have been way off then. I mean, like we said, you're the expert here. I could have been way off. Who did you have taken top 4? Top
4. Number 4, huge upset. Roman Bravo Young losing to Austin DeSanto. I think Roman Bravo Young. So the thing is, Austin DeSanto has 2 solid wins over Roman Bravo Young, but Roman Bravo Young had a big journey this year. He came from being the number 16 seed last year at the NCAAs for 133 to going to almost beating Seth Gross. Then one of not the returning national champion, but I believe he could have been a returning national champion last year, but he got hurt though.
Yeah, so no, and he was a national champion the year before and a runner-up the year prior to that for South Dakota State. So he's transferred with Chris Bono over to Wisconsin and was doing big things. So you don't think they were beaten up and kind of injured throughout the season at all?
Mm-mm.
No,
I think Austin DeSantos, it's a thing with him. He could get angry at points, like Sebastian Rivera also. They could both get angry. But since Roman Bravo Young injured him in the first match and he made DeSanto quit, I think DeSanto would have been mad. So I think DeSanto was winning in the Big Ten against him, and then he got a takedown to win the match. I think it was a 3-2 decision. So I think that DeSanto would believe in himself. I think he would be mad that he didn't, but that he wasn't in the finals. So I think that he would have went. I think that he would have beat Roman Bravo Young for that.
Okay, now talk to me here about a dark horse. Anybody that maybe performed better than they were seeded, in your opinion, your prediction?
Yeah, 2. Taylor Lamont taking 8th place.
Okay, gotcha.
And then,
Utah Valley, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, real time.
Sammy Alvarez taking 7th place.
Okay. I thought one to keep an eye on that could be a little bit of a sleeper in there was Montori Bridges, and he's an All-American previously. third this year at the Big 12. I actually had him in my fantasy bracket beating Sebastian Rivera, so maybe I'm just not that. Am I giving you a headache with my my predictions?
Sebastian Rivera?
Well, he's got the capability. He's made the podium before. I'm not saying he would have won it or even finished that high. I just thought he may have messed up the bracket a little bit for people.
What did you have Seth Gross taking?
Oh, I didn't go the whole way through the same way that you did. I'm not as dedicated as you are. So I didn't fill out the consolations. I took a peek and thought, hey, maybe this guy can make the blood round. Maybe this guy can be an All-American. But full disclosure, I didn't go all out the way that you did. But that's why you're a more successful person than I am.
Mickey Philippi. Yeah, I see him. He could beat Sebastian Rivera. He had a win over Sebastian Rivera, but I do not see him making the finals unless it was in the semis.
He also
if they went against each other.
Now he beat Dayton Fix last year as well.
Beat Dayton Fix?
Last season he did. He's solid. He only had one loss this season.
Chaff Tucker, I think.
I just thought maybe it was the guys beating up one another all year might have worked against them at this point. But hey, like I said, you're the expert, and that's cool. What did you have going on in the finals? Did you go over your final? Who was I know you have your finals selected. Who was your champion?
Seth Gross.
You had Seth Gross beating Sebastian Rivera this time.
Yeah.
I think it was a rubber match. I think Gross won early in the year. Rivera won at Big Ten. And then you had the rubber match going to Seth Gross, ending his career with a second national title.
Yeah, so the thing is, Seth Gross beat him in a tournament by 1 point. And then Sebastian Rivera came back and won it and won by another point. I think both of the matches, one of them had 7 points both of the matches, and the other one has 6 points both of the matches.
Okay. Gotcha. So, we don't always have to agree. We can still be friends, right?
Yeah.
All right. Can we move on to 141?
Yep.
All right.
This is also a tough weight.
Okay. So, who were guys to keep an eye on walking into it, in your opinion?
Oh, Tyreek Wilson. Oh, yeah.
Was he your dark?
Yeah, big dark horse and big performance for me.
He did it before. So I don't know if you remember, but 2 years ago, Tyreek Wilson was unseeded and made the semis at 133
Seth
pounds.
Gross.
Yeah, he almost beat him, so you do remember it. I'll never question you again, buddy. I mean, getting in that leg left
overtime.
And right. And then, yeah, it was.
Seth Gross pinned him in overtime.
Yeah, I mean, that was he was just an eyelash away as a freshman from making the NCAA finals. So yeah, that's moved up to 141. A lot of question on how he was adjusting to the new weight class and if he was big enough to handle that competition. But Cael says yes, he was. Go ahead and what did you have him taking?
5th place.
Okay, all right. What was he seeded? Do you remember coming in?
13, I think.
He was the 13 seed coming in. Okay, wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a big jump, but he's done it before. Not a bad pick. I actually was somewhat similar with my dark horse pick. I had Sedarian Perry from ODU. He'd been an All-American before. I believe it was at Eastern Michigan, and right before they dropped the program, was an All-American a couple of years ago there. And again, just not seated very high. Seems to be the type of guy that takes a few losses during the season, but really comes prepared. Earlier in the year, he only lost by 1 point to Real Woods, who was the number 3 seed coming into this thing. Sedarian Perry, I was looking at him. I think he had like 11 losses. And I was, obviously I had to research it a little bit, but like 8 of those 11 were 1 point matches that he lost. And then the ones that he didn't all happened at the same event, which makes me question, was he hurt? Was he sick for that one weekend and just still wrestling by giving up those big ones? I don't know the reason. Obviously, I don't know him. Who did you have making the finals there?
Luke Pletcher against Nick Lee all the way.
I went the same way. I went Pletcher against Lee. they'd have two close matches, I think two only during the season. And they split matches, I think, during the year. I had both of those guys making the finals. I was leaning towards Dom DeMoss a little bit. I really love watching him wrestle, and I think he's super tough. I just, I went with my brain with this one instead of my heart. Went Pletcher to beat him in the semis.
Yeah, I had is it Dom Demas? I had
Demas?
I think it's Demas. Well,
My fault.
Dom Demas. I have him taking 6, losing to Tyreek Wilson.
Okay, so you had Tyreek Wilson and so you're saying Demas. I said Demas. Pronunciation, I got to be honest with you. A lot of times with names, I learn them just by reading rankings and stuff like that, or looking stories on dual meets. Still watch them when I can, but I guess I don't pay enough attention. So if I mispronounce something, you make sure you correct me, okay?
Okay.
All right. So who was your 7th, 8th placer in this one?
7th and 8th. The number 4 seed taking 7th, Ian Parker.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then another dark horse, Mitch McKee, taking 8th place.
Oh yeah, McKee is tough, Minnesota kid. And Ian Parker was the 4 seed coming in, right, at Iowa State.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had him taking a big loss to Tyreek Wilson.
Okay, gotcha. Who did you have at 3rd and 4th? I'm just going to adjust my camera real quick while you're talking.
Real Woods against Chad Red.
Okay, cool. I could see it happening. Who'd you have winning it?
Real Woods. Strong wrestler.
Yeah, it's. I think you have 1 loss this season?
Maybe, I think so.
I think he was. I'll check the brackets. So he's 19-1 coming into the NCAA tournament. Obviously put together a really good year. I can't remember what grade he's in.
A junior.
He is?
I think so.
Okay. And then what did you have happening in the finals? We know that we had Pletcher against Lee in the rubber match. Who did you have taking it?
Luke Pletcher, because he has this sucks for him. He made the semifinals so many times, but this was his year going up to 141 where he could have won it, but the NCAA gets canceled. That sucks for a lot of people, like Mark Hall could have won another one, Colin Moore, Luke Pletcher, a bunch of those people.
Hey, so we don't say sucks on the podcast.
Who does?
I'm just kidding. You can say whatever the hell you want as long as your parents won't get mad at me for it. So you had Pletcher over Lee in the finals.
Yeah.
Well, it's my lucky day. I had the same thing, and I don't get to be told how wrong I was. At least one weight class. So
I can't get over that.
It's we got plenty more to get through, buddy. We have 7 more weights. You want to move on to 149?
Oh yeah, that was my weight class that I had. Yeah, I had crazy upsets.
Okay, cool. So, who did you have as your dark horse?
Henry Palomir, I think, and it's not really a dark horse, but he was a medium dark horse. I had Boo Llewellyn, I think.
Oklahoma State, sure.
Yeah, I had him taking 4th place.
He was tough. I forget what seed he was.
I think he was number. I could get internet on this other thing right here.
Oh, don't sweat it, man. We're doing the best that we can. People will correct us and criticize if we're wrong, but that's okay, right?
Uh-huh.
That makes it fun. I think he was a 5 seed coming into it. How did you see the finals going?
Matt Kolodzic, Sammy Sasso.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you had the 1 and 2 getting knocked off. Where did Lugo finish?
Lugo, number 3. I had Matt Kolodzic beating him in the semis. I just think that Matt Kolodzic, if it was in the finals, I think Pat Lugo would have won. But, I mean, it could go anyway. You could see the number 32 winning it, which sucks because it didn't happen. So we don't even know. Matt Kolodzic might not even have placed. I doubt he wouldn't have placed, though.
Yeah, undefeated. Had a short season, returned towards the end.
Pulled a red shirt. He had to pull his red shirt. What team does he have? Yeah, it was an Olympic red shirt. I think I'm not sure. I think he wrestles for Princeton.
Yeah. Do you think he regrets that? Yeah, I don't believe Ivy League wrestlers are actually allowed to take regular red shirt. Had to be an Olympic one. I believe that's accurate. I'm real big. Like, I love feeling like I'm part of something, not part, but there to witness something great and seeing greatness happen. And a big step for that is being there to witness, somebody win 4 NCAA titles. Something that my first time going with my dad was 1999. It was held at State College, and there was 2 undefeated freshmen that were coming into the national tournament that year. One was a guy named Joe Heskett, who went on later on to be a national champ. The other one was this guy named Cael Sanderson. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I'm named after him.
How about that? Not only does he have a really cool first name, but possibly and probably the greatest collegiate wrestler of all time. Also went on to win a gold medal and now coaches Penn State. Having said that, getting off on a tangent, Sammy Sasso being a freshman, he was my pick, and I tend to lean that way sometimes.
I understand that. I had Sammy first. At the beginning of the season, I had Sammy Sasso. Then I had Pat Lugo. But I had Pat Lugo because I thought that Matt Kolodzic would have went against Sammy Sasso in the semis. But I didn't realize that he's going against Pat Lugo. So then I had Matt Kolodzic winning it.
Okay. So this one here, I'm looking at my brackets, buddy. It would have Kolodzic and Sasso in the quarters meeting. On maybe I'm on the wrong website or something like that. Say it was Kolodzic and Lugo in the finals. Who did you have winning it?
Lugo.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. Did you have any dark horse at this one?
Yeah, you already asked that. Henry Paulier.
My bad, buddy. Yeah.
It's all right.
Anything else that you see it this way?
Oh, yeah. Austin O'Connor, 7th place.
Oh, wow. Yeah, coming in as the 2 seed and taking 7th. One dark horse that I had was Andrew Alvarez. He was a 4-time Colorado State champ, is out in Northern Colorado. He's also a Super 32 finalist. I think he's a freshman. Not a huge collegiate credential. He doesn't come from a really big conference or a powerhouse school, but he was 24-4 coming into the season. So he was kind of my dark horse after looking at the brackets. Maybe he'd sneak in there to the blood round or maybe even make the podium at the end. You want to move on to 157?
Yeah.
Okay. So this one, I really felt like there was 3 guys that stood above the rest, in my opinion. Obviously, Ryan Deacon comes in at the number 1 seed. Hayden Hidlay is the 2nd seed, and then freshman David Carr. I actually coached with David's uncle over at Owings Mills High School. His uncle Solomon, he and I coached together. So the Carr family is a long, traditionally great wrestling family. Maybe one day you think the Killos will be considered a great wrestling family?
Maybe.
Maybe. Come on. I'm sure you'll do something to put that name on the map. Not that your dad didn't already, but you'll really do something like that. What did you have your finals looking like here?
Hayden Hidlay against Ryan Deacon.
Okay, so you went 1 and 2. What did you think of that semis between Hidlay and David Carr?
Ooh, that was tough. I thought at first I had David Carr, then I had Hayden Hidlay. Then I was leaning towards David Carr, but then I had to go Hayden Hidlay.
Okay, gotcha. So you think a tight match, but Hidlay, what do you think it is? The experience? He's wrestled there twice before, made the finals once. He's been the semis every year. Do you think that would have played into it a little?
I think that loss to Jason Nolf would push him.
Okay. I love that you're kind of taking the mental approach and think about what's in these guys' heads. That's the sign of a true competitor. And you said you think Hidlay was going to win it this year?
Yep.
Okay. So he was your first place finisher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I went the other way with it. I went Deacon. We were pretty much pulling straws at that point. The Deacon, I don't know if you watched the match at Cliff Keen, but he left no doubt who the better wrestler was on that day. I don't know. It's obviously very early in the season. Obviously, you think improvements would have been made and adjustments would have been made and there would have been a different outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Any big upsets along the way?
Um,
Or just a dark horse, somebody you think might have snuck onto the podium?
Wyatt Sheets.
Okay, Oklahoma State, right?
Yeah,
What place did you have him
Oklahoma
taken?
State. 8th.
Okay, so he snuck onto the podium. I had 15 seed Larry Early, who had been an All-American previously from ODU. My second Old Dominion guy making the podium.
I had him in the blood round.
Yeah. Any other big matches along the way? Who'd you have for 5th and 6th?
Kendall Coleman against Caleb Young.
Okay. Coleman came in as the 6th seed. So who'd you have winning that one?
Coleman.
Okay. Coleman beat Young.
Caleb Young started strong at the beginning of the season, but then he started to fall back.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing, but I think he came in as the number 2 ranked guy in the country. But yeah, I mean, who am I to criticize? He beat me up, but I thought the same thing with you had Hitley finally getting that national title.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same next year.
You think he's going to be a 2-timer? Well, would have been a 2-timer if this year took place.
That's why it sucks.
You want to move on to 165?
First I want to say who I took 3rd and 4th, and then we can move on.
Let's do it, buddy. Who'd you have taking the bronze?
The bronze was David Carr, and then Jesse Deliashvili.
Okay.
Very last name is so hard to pronounce. I had him taking 4.
Okay. Yeah, so that you went chalk. Well, your top, I mean, obviously you switched the 2 and the 1, but the top 4 places at that weight were the top 4 seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nice, man. So now we're good for 165?
Yep.
All right. So 165, Alex Marinelli from Iowa coming in as the top seed. I believe he did the year before as well, but got knocked off in the quarters.
I'm Makai Lewis.
Yeah. Boy, what a run that kid had, right?
Yeah.
He's fun to watch. Man, I look forward. Well, I don't know what's going to happen with Olympic red shirts if they take another one now that the Olympics are being postponed or not. But we'll focus on this year and what would have happened. Who'd you have in the finals?
Alex Marinelli against Vincenzo Joseph.
Okay, so you want 1 and 2 in the finals.
Yeah.
What about anybody that you thought maybe might have snuck in there?
David McFadden.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ethan Smith.
That's a good one. Ethan Smith, Maryland wrestler at Sparrows Point, ended Aberdeen, was a 2-time Maryland state champ when he moved here from PA at The Ohio State University. That was your pick for it?
Yeah, I think he had close matches with Isaiah White, and in the blood round, Isaiah White lost in the quarters. So he went down to the blood round, and I think Ethan Smith could have got that.
So, I probably messed up by skipping over a couple of guys, but Maryland natives are probably something that we should talk about. I know Tyshawn Williams was wrestling at one of the brackets before. I think he was 49, and then 41 or 49. I'm sorry for, not knowing off the top of my head. Jahai Jones from Maryland qualified at 157 at Oxon Hill grad. So feel for them not being able to compete. I think Jones was a senior. He was a state runner-up in high school, wasn't state champ, went Big Ten out of high school, and we know Maryland isn't considered a wrestling powerhouse. Qualified for his first NCAA tournament for Maryland, and I thought, that was cool to see. I was rooting hard for him. He had a tough draw. I think he actually was a pigtail, and if he won that, would have wrestled Deacon first round. But, we're still on 65, so Ethan Smith was your guy to watch?
Yeah. Number
Okay.
16 seed, good wrestler, great wrestler.
Was he 16? I had him at a 12 seed. Was I wrong?
In Intermat, he's ranked number 16.
Oh, so 16 in the rankings. Gotcha. Okay. He's obviously proven that he can hang with the best. He was, I know he was in the Cliff Keen finals. I think it was this year. I think it was him and Isaiah White. Could have been the year before. They all kind of meshed together for me. What'd you have as far as your third and fourth place match?
Third and fourth place, Travis Whitlake against Shane Griffith.
Okay, so you're the 3 and 4 seeds wrestling for third and fourth.
Yeah.
What about seventh and eighth?
Evan Wick against Josh Shields.
Oh, that I tell you, this is a barn burner of a weight class. Shields is like nasty. I think I had Shields actually making the semis. I had him. Was Shane Griffith? Was he undefeated coming into the season or coming into the tournament?
Yeah, he was the only undefeated person.
And I believe he beat Shields earlier in the season, but I had Shields coming out on top with this one. I think really highly of Shields. Arizona State is super tough, and Zeke Jones is a great coach. I thought really, really highly of him. I had him making the semis. Isaiah White was there for Nebraska also, who's a complete beast. Did you give me your seventh and eighth yet?
Yeah, Ethan Smith against David McFadden.
Okay, Virginia Tech, David McFadden, another stud. Top to bottom, this one is a solid weight. How'd you have the finals going?
Alex Marinelli, I think he would have wanted it more. He's never won that national title that he's wanted. I think that he would slip up, beat Vincenzo Joseph. Don't get me wrong. Even if it's been close matches both times, that I think Vincenzo Joseph might have had a 7-0 lead and then out and dual meet, and I think Alex Marinelli came back and it was a 7-6.
Right, okay. Yeah, that was where Vincenzo had that big throw to kind of open it up, and Marinelli came back on him. And then Marinelli, I tell you what, if nothing else, they're exciting, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're those are two fun guys to watch. Evan, I mean, they didn't make it easy on Marinelli. Like Evan Wick, who can pin anybody. I mean, it's just might be the best guy on top in the country. They were going to meet in the quarters. It's just a tough road for Marin. I still had him making the finals also. I had the same finals you did, but I put Vincenzo Joseph coming out on top. Vincenzo
I
Joseph,
understand that one.
He's a Central Catholic grad in Pittsburgh. That's where my dad went to high school. He is going to be the third coolest guy to ever graduate from that school behind my dad and Dan Marino. So he was my pick. It also probably would have made him go down as the best wrestler to ever not win a Big Ten title. He always was a bridesmaid at the Big Tens, but always stepped it up and made the NCAA finals, winning it 2 other times. So I had Joseph winning this one, but could have gone either way. That one's kind of a coin flip, isn't it?
Yeah, didn't he lose to Imar 2 years in a row?
In the Big Tens, he did, but then he beat him in the NCAAs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had some. Those were some wild matches too. I'm gonna miss watching him wrestle. Again, a Central Catholic grad, so pulling for those Pittsburgh guys a little bit. You all good with this weight, or did you have a dark horse, or did you already go over it? I forgot already.
I already went over the dark horse.
Okay, you did. You had Ethan Smith, didn't you?
Yeah, and McFadden.
Okay, I had Kennedy Monday as my dark horse. Not sure he necessarily would have placed, but thought that he was going to be sniffing at the podium and possibly sneaking on there. So on to 174.
Yep. Oh,
okay.
That I had a big. Yeah, I had something huge.
Oh, well, don't leave us in suspense, man. What do we have here?
I have Dylan Leidy not even placing, getting knocked out in the blood round.
4 seed with only 2 losses coming into the season. You had him not even placing. Wow. That's a big upset, man.
Losing to the dark horse that took 6th place.
Okay. Whoa. There we go. Who was the dark horse?
Joe Smith.
Okay. Yeah, Joe Smith, been an All-American before, but didn't, was kind of banged up this season, dropped a few matches. I think he had a shortened season as well. So, all right, so you had Joe Smith finishing strong and coming out on top.
Yeah.
Okay. What about your finals? How did that look?
Mark Hall against Michael Kremer, the match we've all been wanting.
Yeah, the rubber match, right?
Yeah.
Kremer beat him at the dual meet. Mark Hall won at the Big Tens. How'd you have this one going this time?
I think that would be a really tough match. But at the end of the day, Mark Hall has more experience than him in the NCAAs. And Michael Kremer, I don't think he ever made the NCAA finals. I think Mark Hall would have been more confident losing to Zahid Valencia a bunch of different years. And this year was his year. I think that he would go out and pull the W with by 1 or 2 points.
Okay, yeah, it being a tight one. I think that's fair to say. I had Mark Hall winning also. I remember the first time I saw Mark Hall, I was at Flow Nationals coaching, and I looked over and said, that kid's pretty good. And somebody looked at me like I was an idiot and said, that's Mark Hall. And I said, oh, where's he going next year? Thinking he was a senior. And he said, Apple Valley. And I go, he's a junior? And he goes, he's an 8th grader. And I was like, whoa, so he's been on my radar for, since he was in middle school, just, loving to watch him wrestle. I can't live in a world where Mark Hall is only a one-time national champion, although it looks like I have to just accept it now with the cancellation. I had him as my champion as well. Anybody that you had at this weight class that might surprise us?
Mikey Labriola.
Okay, gotcha. What place you have him taken?
8th place.
Okay, so he snuck onto the podium.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, man. Any other placers that you want to talk about? Once I start rambling, I ramble forever. So trying to hustle through so I don't, bore everybody with all my talking. So why don't you give me the rest of your weight class and then we'll move on to 84.
Anthony Valencia, I think. He got 5th place, I think. He's a good wrestler, but easily, I think Zahid Valencia, I think would knock him off for 174 if he wrestled there. It was either 174. I think next year. Is he a junior or senior?
I think they're both finishing up. I think that they both. Anthony's the older one, but they're on the same eligibility year, and I think they're both graduating now.
Oh yeah. So I think Anthony Valencia taking 5th. He's a good wrestler, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see him showing off that much.
Yeah, well, he's, he was the #1 ranked senior, I think, coming out of his graduating class. And in high school, it was kind of like Anthony Valencia, and he has a brother, Zaid, also. And they kind of flipped the script a little bit and changed positions, when they got to college. But both, like you said, both super tough. Anything else at this weight?
Nothing really that much. I had just a crazy thing that I can't get over with. I fought Dylan Leidy. Dylan Leidy, one of the first college wrestlers I ever knew.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The reason I know him so much is because I probably would have forgot about him, but the reason I remember is because my cousin is named Dylan.
Oh, okay, cool. So there you go. Something to remember him by, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's go on to 184, buddy. This is going to kind of bring me back to 149 with my hopes for greatness. But this, I was enticed a little bit more with a Maryland native being in there. Aaron Brooks coming in as the 3 seed. How'd you have that one finishing up?
I thought he was going to win it. But as I went into the bracket, he had tough matches, and I was like, "Whew." He took 4th.
4th, okay. All right. Well, freshman, first time in NCAA, who knows?
Had him losing to Hayden Hidley, Robert that won the tournament at 157.
Yeah. And Trent's tough too. He had a great another freshman. I think he's a freshman. And
yeah, he's a freshman, I think.
It's going to be a fun weight class to watch. I think Hunter Bolin is back as well. Who was the 2 seed coming in. What did you have happening in the finals?
Taylor Lujan against Hunter Bolin. Lujan or whatever.
Gotcha.
Taylor Lujan, I think, could win that. I had him winning.
Coming in as the 1 seed, walking out as the champion. You can't argue with that one. I had him making the finals as well, but I had him losing to Aaron Brooks, pulling for the, maybe I went with my heart instead of my head, but watching Aaron Brooks wrestle, he's adjusting nicely to college, as we all knew that he would. For Penn State, pulled his red shirt, and is doing great things. So I had Aaron Brooks winning it. Did you have any surprises as far as other upsets that you haven't mentioned?
Yeah, I had Abe Assad taking 8th place. I didn't when I went into the bracket, I realized that he actually had an easy route through, but I think he lost to Aaron Brooks in the. I had him in the quarterfinals, losing to Hunter Bolin.
Okay, yeah, nothing wrong with that pick.
And then he lost Aaron Brooks. I wasn't going to knock Aaron Brooks out to Abe Assad. There's no way.
No, I mean, at the dual meet this year, that was kind of one-sided. Both of them, that was a really hyped-up match coming in with both of them being freshmen, and Brooks took it to him. No, that was probably a smart play on your part. Anything else at this weight that you want to talk about?
No, not really. Just a bunch of last names that I can't pronounce, and I don't bother saying.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to learn that signature or write checks or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
I had Britt Wilson from Northern Illinois as my dark horse for this one. He had 3 losses coming to the NCAA tournament and thought maybe he could do some things.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to 197?
Yeah. This one's pretty obvious of who I had winning.
Yeah, it's I tell you, we don't know, we didn't talk about this before, but I'm sensing that I'm on the same page that you are. But 2 undefeated guys, it might be the only weight with 2 undefeated wrestlers coming into the tournament. They're the number 1, number 2 seed. Obviously, Noah Adams had an exceptional year for West Virginia. I think he might have been a blood round guy last year, but it's just knocking off people left and right this year and doing great things in a tough Big 12 conference. But Colin Moore, Ohio State, undefeated. It seems like it should have been his year a couple times in a row. He came in as the top seed, I think, as a sophomore, got knocked off by Kyle Connell. And then last year seemed like his year. And then Bo Nickel decides he's moving up and taking what's his. What'd you have happening at this weight?
Colin Moore, obviously. Colin Moore winning it.
Okay. Yeah, obviously. So you don't think it would have been close?
Well, I think it would have been close. Noah Adams, strong wrestler also, but I think Colin Moore would win it because this was his year. He had so many tough people going in, trying to beat him in the NCAA finals. Last year, tough loss to Bo Nickel, 5-3, I believe it was. And I think this year was his year.
Okay, I can't agree more. I had him winning as well. I did have a going chalk until the finals. But yeah, I thought that I thought it was going to be 2 undefeated guys coming into the finals. That's just an easy scenario to root for. And I had more winning as well. Did you have anything else at this weight class that stood out to you? Anybody else that placed that you want to talk about?
Patrick Bronte, I want to talk about.
Okay, the Princeton kid, right?
Yeah, I think so. I could check right here.
It's Princeton. Don't sweat that, buddy. I got your back.
Yeah, it's Princeton. So him coming in as a number 8 seed, number 8 ranked. I just looked at Internet because I was trying to find the brackets, but I couldn't. So I had him taking 5th.
Okay.
He had kind of an easy route. I had him in the blood round. I think I have the brackets up in my room, but I don't want to leave the camera. So,
no, it's all good, man. Don't sweat that. But yeah, I mean, you had him finishing ahead of his seed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I pulled for Princeton guys a lot. Quick side story, and I promise we'll move on to the last weight after this, and I won't ramble any longer. When I was a little younger, and your dad was actually around for one of these, I used to tell girls that I went to Princeton. I went and when I was in junior college, like, an hour south. But I would go and take notes when I went to the Princeton Open about, like, dorms and stuff like that. My friend was really good with computers, and he made a fake, Princeton wrestling profile. And at that time, it was American Instant Message, AIM, and I put that in my profile. People could click. And I wasn't wearing a shirt and tie. I was wearing, like, a Princeton wrestling sweatshirt, which is kind of weird now in hindsight. But, Yeah, your dad and I, were out on vacation and in North Carolina. I met a girl from Ohio. Long story short, she thought I went to Princeton. We kept in touch and were, I guess, dating officially at that point. And the first time that I told her the truth was when she was driving from Ohio to New Jersey to come visit her at Princeton. I said, "Oh, by the way, you might want to take a detour and go in different directions. I don't really go there." So I came clean at that point. But yeah, man, anything else at this weight class before we move on?
No, not really.
Okay, well, let's close it up with the heavies, the big boys, closing it out. Some real good people, some real young good people at this one. This is going to be a fun weight to watch for a few years coming. What'd you have happening?
So, long story short, in the semifinals, Mason Paris pinned Tony Cassioppi, or Cassaponi.
Yeah, the Iowa freshman.
Yeah, but I had Tony is good he could get a pin every once in a while. I didn't see a pin. I saw like a 5-4 or a 2-3 decision for Cassioppi.
Oh, so you had Cassioppi making the finals?
Yep.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so knocking off Mason Paris.
Yeah.
That's a big win. These Big Ten guys came to play. How'd you have the finals going?
Gable Stevenson, obviously. I don't even think it'll be close. I think Gable Stevenson would pin him.
No? Oh, really? Okay. I could see it happening. Gable's just a beast. I've been really looking forward to watching him compete at the college level for, since he was early in his high school. And, maybe even when he was in 8th grade. He's another Apple Valley guy who's been really fun to watch over the years. I had him winning as well. I had it going chalk, though. I hadn't beaten Mason Paris in the finals.
Yeah, I think I had Mason Paris taking 4th to Matt Stencil taking 3rd. I think that Mason Paris would be down in the dumps from his loss to Tony Cassioppi, and I think that he would remember that loss and he would just not put on a good performance, and I think Matt Stencil would measure him.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're coming at it from a couple of different mental angles. You talk about people being motivated, but then some people, you're right. They drop ones that they're not supposed to lose, and then they're not ready for their next match. I'm sure that doesn't happen to you ever, does it?
No, it happened to me maybe once, I think, but I was first wrestling. It was in my first year of rec. There's this kid that pinned me in 2 seconds and the first match, and then I went against him in a tournament, and I was just like, I'm not gonna win anyways, but I just let him pin me.
Oh, okay. But you learned your lesson from it. You bounced back, and now you're better because.
And I came back and I beat him.
Nice, man. Awesome. So that's pretty much it. Who'd you have taken the team title? Who do you think would have? I know you probably didn't calculate scores.
Iowa.
Okay, I had Iowa winning it as well. I just thought they were loaded from top to bottom. So that wraps it up as far as us giving, letting everybody know what would have happened. Mr. Killo over here let everybody know what would have happened. I was wrong a couple of times, apparently. I didn't realize that when I was preparing for this. But is there anything else going on? What's the future look like to you? Are you ready to get back on the wrestling mats?
Oh, yeah. I've been missing the sport so much. I've been looking forward to off season all year.
Okay, yeah. Well, are you still training at all?
Yeah, I'm training with my dad in the garage. I have 2 days off on the weekends. Me and my dad do 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I just take the days off because it's the weekend.
So you're working him hard. You're making him train you 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not him making you. You're making him.
Mm-hmm.
Good, man. That's how it should be. No, that's awesome. Is there anywhere, people can check you out? I know you're on this. I'm old, so this is new to me, but you're on a TikTok. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I have a TikTok page for my wrestling.
What's your name on it?
CKX Wrestle 10.
Okay. And then that's how they can find you on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, man. Well, buddy, I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Yeah, shout out to my cousin Dylan and shout out to University of Maryland.
Sweet, man. Giving the plugs where they deserve to be given. All right, Cael, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate all the insight. It's really impressive and love your dedication to the sport. I think it's amazing. And that's that's the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, it was another bonus episode. We're going to be coming at you with other guests with our regularly scheduled programs, for lack of a better term, here in the next couple of weeks. We've got some really cool guests lined up. Until then, thanks for supporting Champions That Wrestle. We'll see you next time.